Welcome into KSL Sports Rewind, our not 5 burning questions segment. Today, we're going to dive into the RPI. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Jeff Hansen, Dane Stewart, and today's RPI discussion brought to you by Tab Bank.
Tab Bank, home of the Tab Spend debit account, tabbank.com. Earn 3.5% APY on your balance, 1% cash back on all of your debit card purchases, and no hidden fees, no overdraft fees. It's no fee checking. Don't pay to bank, get paid to bank at tabbank.com.
All right, so RPI got released on Monday. Jeff and I are going to go through each of the classifications, give you our thoughts as we talk through kind of the initial rankings. Have no fear, folks. There's still 5 more games in order to jockey for RPI positioning. And just so you know, this year we got something special in store for you. I don't know if you know this, Jeff.
I don't think I do.
But we will be doing a live bracket reveal show of every classification playoff brackets. And folks, you can only see that live right here. There's no other release. This is the release. We're super excited to bring it to you this year on KSLSports.com. Let's dive into 1A, shall we, Jeff? And there are 3 teams with 4-1 records atop 1A. Here's how they shook out as of the release on Monday, September 15th. Beaver coming in at number 1, Duchesne at number 2, Kanab in at number 3. Jeff, your immediate reaction?
I've learned over the years here with you guys at Rewind, you don't pick against Beaver. That's what I've learned. And the RPI seems to be following suit. I'm curious, there's going to be movement. I mean, with those teams all at 4-1, there's going to be movement over the next 5 weeks of the season. But I don't have any issues with the way that shook out this week. I think I think all 3 of those teams are going to be right there at the end.
That Beaver-Kanab game is going to be interesting, and I don't know if this is a good thing or not, but we get it Friday. So, I mean, you get a top 3 matchup in 1A. That's also a region matchup. That could be your region title game. That'll be a big one down in 1A.
And it could play a role. The winner of that might end up being the number 1 overall seed at the end of the day. That's a big game.
Very well could be. There's not a lot of separation between those 3. That'll be a big one. Let's move to 2A, shall we? All right. We'll a few more teams in 2A, actually just 10, sorry. Still getting used to the realignment this year. It's a little funky for me. So it does. Number 1, San Juan. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone. 4-1 on the year. South Severe, though, coming in at 5-0, maybe feeling like, hey, we're undefeated. Does that surprise you, Jeff, at all?
You look at the way that San Juan has played and who they've played. I think the math makes sense.
Yeah.
So no, it doesn't surprise me, but if I'm South Severe, I certainly feel like I'm a little bit slighted. We're undefeated. We've played really well. So South Severe, use that as motivation because, that's there. But again, that makes sense. I think the math makes sense.
That is the difference. And just to remind you, we should have outlined this at the start. We did not. The RPI is just math, right? So if you like math, good for you. And if you don't, I'm sorry, it's not going to make a lot of sense, but it's 45% on your own winning percentage, 45% on your opponent's winning percentage, and then 10% on your opponent's winning percentage. So when you look at that breakout, San Juan, I apologize, San Juan, this taking over for Dusty thing, I got to start calling him San Juan. San Juan, there's a story there with Juab anyway. For San Juan, 4-1, but it has the same weighting as their opponent's winning percentage, which is much stronger when you look at them compared to South Severe. And that's where the difference comes in, is in the opponent's winning percentage being so much stronger for San Juan, which is why they came in number 1.
Yeah, not if you're South Severe. Keep winning. You don't lose all year long, and you're going to be where you want to be at the end.
And there's quite a big drop-off between 2 and 3 in 2A.
Yeah.
Those are really probably the 2 heavy favorites in that classification. Let's move to 3A, because this is where I think it starts to get a little bit fun, Jeff.
Yeah, I think so. There's some debate that can be had here.
Oh, well, let's debate it. Number 1, the undefeated Cedar Res. We talked about them this week. What a great start for Cedar this year. 5-0, fantastic. Coming in at number 2, Morgan. And this was one that, look, I know they lost a game to Ridgeline, but man, every week they're going up against super tough teams. Manti at number 3, Richfield in at number 4.
And then Juab at number 5, right behind them. I think if anybody should feel slighted in that 5, like Juab feels like, well, he played really good football all year. That 1 and 2, we just talked about the math, and the math makes sense, and the math certainly does make sense when you break out opponents' winning percentage and all that stuff. So Cedar over Morgan mathematically makes some sense. What I struggle with a little bit here at this 3A classification, there's no weight for scheduling up, right? You look at Morgan, they've played 4A teams, they've played 5A teams, and Bountiful, but that's not really weighted. And so if Bountiful doesn't have the season maybe that they have had in the past, that doesn't help the opponent's winning percentage. That's why Morgan's down a little bit. But Morgan certainly has been tested. So maybe that's my one quibble with the RPI as it is if you're going to schedule up like Morgan does, maybe there should be something there, but I don't know how you do that, so maybe that's a bad suggestion.
It's interesting because in other sports, they do kind of have the rating up and down. Football, they don't. Everything's one.
Yeah,
so,
straight up.
That's at least my interpretation of the fact page. I think that's correct. So, yeah, that is interesting to your point. I'll tell you this. Ogden is 4-1. We haven't talked a lot about Ogden this year. They've been very decisive in their wins. They haven't had the toughest schedule. They come in at 7, feels a little low. North Sanby, who just beat Caneview, comes in at 8.
Yeah.
Caneview at 9. I mean, this top 10, there's some depth in 3A here.
Yeah, 3A I think is going to be a lot of fun as this thing shakes out. And then you look at Carbon there at number 10. Feels like this week we'd be remiss if we don't talk about the Carbon Dinos, right? So yeah, how about the Dinos? They've played really well, sitting at 2-3. They've had a couple of close games in there as well. The Dinos are playing some good football.
Yeah, they got off to a great start this year. I think 2-0 out of the gate. I think I've lost a couple since then. They'll rebound. They got to, right? We got to fight for Dusty. Let's go to 4A, shall we? And 4A, we talked about it on our show this week. 4A is fun.
Yes.
Now look, there's Ridgeline, who, number 1, I don't think that shocks a lot of people. Jeff, Panther Pride, man. Pineview in at number 2.
You love to see it. The way that it was such a big part of our preseason show that, guys like Brock Harris have built a program. It's cool to see that pay off because he could have transferred and he stayed. And Levi Shaw has stepped up and been fantastic at quarterback. That defense is playing really well. It's cool to see Pineview start to stack up these wins. Yeah. It would be cool to see it continue.
Snow Canyon in at number 3. We haven't talked a lot about the Warriors, Jeff. 4-1. Kind of feels like they've been overshadowed a little bit by some of the big games that Pineview has had, but Snow Canyon's been really good to start.
Snow Canyon's been right there. There's going to be a lot of good football played down south this year. It's easy to forget about that up north, but there's several really good teams down there.
Because speaking of, Salem Hills is in at number 4, and then Crimson Cliffs is in at 5, the defending state champs.
Yeah, this is really interesting because you look at Crimson at number 5, Dixie at 6, and Hurricane at 7.
Where's Cache Valley?
Where's these Cache Valley schools? There's so many good ones. Where's Provo? There's a lot of good football being played in St. George, the St. George area. That's the takeaway that you should draw from there. So if you're a northern Utah school and you're seeing all of these St. George schools, these southern schools down there going, what the heck? Well, open your eyes, man. There's some really good football down south this year.
Well, and you talk about Provo. This was a preseason top 5 team. They're sitting right now at 15. Now, look, they're 1-4. That doesn't help you in the win column. But they have, I think, the strongest opponent's winning percentage out of anybody. They're at 80 in their opponent's winning percentage.
They've played.
That's crazy. And these have been tight games. They've had opportunities in them.
They've had multiple games that they've ended up losing, but multiple overtime losses. They've been in just about every game. Mountain Crest is a team that we've highlighted all year long. They just lost a really tough game against Skyview, but Mountain Crest down there at 14. The way that if the playoffs started today, I don't want to play Mountain Crest as a 14 seed. That there's somebody up high that's going to have a really tough round 2 opponent there.
Snow Canyon.
That's tough.
That's tough. This is a classification that is ripe for upsets.
Yes, absolutely.
It's talk about Skyline 10, Park City 11, Skyview 9. This tournament is going to be wacko.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
It's going to be a blast. All right, let's go to 5A, shall we? How about this? Fremont coming in at number 1 in the initial RPI release in 5A. Orem in at 2, West at number 3. Woods Cross, the mighty Wildcats coming in at 4 and Springville at 5.
Look, Woods Cross, you go out and you beat an undefeated 6A team in Westlake. That's going to help. You play the opponent's winning percentage. That's great for Woods Cross. They pick up that win. Springville at number 5 and Box Elder right behind them at number 6. Those are 2 really good teams, 2 really good rushing attacks. That feels like teams that are built for playoff football when things get a little bit cold and you got to play defense and you got to run the football. Those are 2 teams that I don't want to see. What's interesting to me, Dane, and maybe not, maybe it shouldn't be interesting, but didn't expect it at the beginning of the season, You got Bountiful at 8 and Timpview at 9.
Yep.
That feels crazy, doesn't it?
It does feel crazy. I mean, when you look at those two teams, they're combined 4 and 6. And the way the season started versus, they're both kind of coming out of a really tough start right now, and they're both sitting in the top 10.
Yeah.
Is, there's some opportunity for them to continue to move up in this RPI. Alta sitting at 13, Brighton at 14, Viewmont at 15.
4-1 Viewmont at 15.
Just beat Somerset Academy Losi, I think is how you say it, not certain. State runner-up last year in Nevada. And I think this year, if I understand, got moved up a classification. Anyway, super good team. They dominated them on Friday night. This offense, when they've got Jaden Dunrow going and Benji Tolman, who's a very good back with Jack Savage, the offense can score points. That region is going to be super interesting. Region 6 teams are a little bit lower in this RPI than I thought. Now, they've had some tough starts. Brighton a tough start. Alta a tough start. Olympus a tough start. I mean, the Titans, 22, Jeff. This might be the best defense in the classification. They're sitting at 22.
Yeah, that feels really low for the Titans. I'm looking at my guys, Clearfield, sitting at number 17. There are 3 teams left on their schedule that are currently ranked behind them in the RPI.
How's the race for 500, Jeff? You feeling
quest
okay?
for 500, it's going to be tight, sitting at 2 and 3. But there's going to be a chance. There's absolutely a chance.
Going to be a chance. 5A will be fun too, folks, if you can't tell. All right, let's move to 6A, shall we? Our last classification we'll just dive into. No shock here, Corner Canyon number 1. But after that, AF at number 2.
Yeah, that's surprising, right? Maybe it shouldn't be. They're 5-0. They've played great teams. We saw them against a really tough West team, and they look great. So maybe we shouldn't be surprised, but there was some sticker shock with that. I was a little bit surprised to see AF at 2. And then their region mates following in behind them, Lone Peak at 3 and Sky Ridge at 4. Do you have any problems with that ranking there in the top 4?
Give me a couple of weeks and then we can talk about it, right? As they all play each other. I will tell you this, AF and Lone Peak and Skyridge all need to be on notice because the separation is 8 thousandths of a point. So there's not a lot of wiggle room there. It really came down to your opponent's opponents. And AF is undefeated, so obviously they got help there on their winning percentage, whereas Lone Peak and Skyridge have each lost once, but they lost to out-of-state teams now. RPI, I don't think they care. But it is one where in-state they've all been perfect so far. Now Lone Peak will get their chance this Friday night. First stake in the ground. Will take their first attempt at the defending state champion, undefeated Corner Canyon Chargers. But Davis not being in the top 5? Sorry, they are. They're at 5.
They're at 5, yeah.
But I'm kind of with you. I could kind of see it, but that's where the loss to Fremont. But they're sitting at number 1. I don't know, Jeff. Talk me through this.
I think, man, if you look at it, it's, Davis played Alta, and Alta has, maybe stumbled a little bit. Because if you look at it, really the only
Mountain
difference...
Ridge, who's...
it's I don't know. It's tough. It's tough for me. When I look at 6A, there's a lot of really good teams because we could keep going down. You've got Westlake, who's at 4-1. They're down all the way at 11. You've got Lehigh at 9, Syracuse at 7. There's some really tough teams. Riverton down at 13. The way that this bracket is going to shake out, especially knowing what's coming the rest of the year, right? These Region 3 teams have to start playing each other. There's going to be some losses, and so that's going to their own winning percentage and the opponent's winning percentage is going to fluctuate a little bit more in Region 3. There's going to be some really weird matchups in the playoff that it feels like, maybe a Davis team that has been really good feels like they're getting Lehigh earlier than they should, and I look at 6A, because there are 7, 8, maybe 9 teams that have been really good to start the year that I think will continue to be pretty good, we're going to get really good playoff games long before we get to Rice-Eccles Stadium.
You know what I don't think this bodes very well for? And they're probably not going to like to hear this. I don't think this bodes well for Lehigh. You're 4-1. You're sitting at 9. You're going to go into region play against the top 4 teams.
It's going to be
now,
tough.
if you win, it's a great thing.
Right.
But if you go 500 in your region, you're going to get an early round matchup with a Corner Canyon or a Skyridge or a Lone Peak.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, look, everyone makes it, but you want to delay that as long as possible, right? And you're going to get an early matchup with those teams. And I can already hear certain people talking about, well, we shouldn't have to play them early, but that's how the math is looking right now. And so a Region 3 team likely going to have a early playoff matchup with another Region 3 team. And I don't know who that will be. I don't know how, but the way that shakes out, boy, that would be tough.
I'm with you. And Lehigh's schedule is going to be brutal, right? Those intra-region matchups. They got a game against Harriman, who's sitting at number 6. Things don't get easy for the Pioneers, right. And depending on how those games shake out, yeah, they could come in at a 12, 13, right? I mean, they could also come in at a 2 or 3 if they win these games. A lot of range still for the Pioneers as they look ahead.
If there's a team ranked 10th or lower that you think is a sleeper, you got one?
Well, I got 2. I look at it and I see they're right next to each other. Riverton at 13. Riverton's played really good football. And Farmington, the way that they play.
Lone Peak.
Yeah, they went toe-to-toe with Lone Peak. It was a couple of turnovers, really, that was the difference in that game. The way that they play with their defense, with the way they run the football, with Fia back there in the secondary forcing turnovers, Farmington's tough. I'm not going to predict that Farmington's going to make their way to the semis or anything like that, but Farmington's a team that I don't think anybody's going to want to play because you're going to remember that you played Farmington the week before. Even if you win, you're going to feel that you had played Farmington a week before that. The Phoenix, that's a team that feels like a sleeper down low right now.
Those were the 2 I was thinking as well. I asked Jeff for one so I could take the other one, but
boom,
we're still working on this.
Boom.
So we're thinking alike there. Hey, there you go. RPI's out. Now, again, folks, this gets updated every week. So we'll keep you up to speed on this. We'll still do our power rankings because we don't limit it by classification. We're looking across the state, right? But RPI's out. Give it a look. You can find it online at uhsaa.org. They've also got their fact page and all sorts of stuff to help you understand what goes into this calculation, how they do it. But no need to overreaction. Your favorite team has 5 more weeks to show how good they are. And then it's playoff time. Crazy. Season's halfway over. We hope you enjoyed it. We got a lot more stuff coming for you right here on KSLSports.com. For Vince Francis, Jeff Hansen, my name is Dane Stewart. Thanks for joining us for our RPI breakdown on KSL Sports Rewind presented by Tab Bank.